welcome to the Daiwa Anglo-Japanese Foundation. My name is Jason James. I'm the Director General of the Foundation, and I'm delighted to see such a good attendance. I wasn't sure that broken pottery would attract so many people, but I'm sure you'll enjoy it, because there actually are some fabulous pieces downstairs, which perhaps you'll be able to have a look at afterwards. And I asked him how I should describe him, and he said he's coordinator of the Kintsugi project. But he himself is a craftsman and worked for many years for Christchurch, Oxford, I think, maintaining their fabric. So I'll leave it to you to introduce everybody else.
Great. Thanks very much. First of all, I could just say thank you to Daiwa for having us come here this evening. So if I can just begin by introducing the speakers. Professor Tymon Screech, who some of you will know will come to these events, from SOAS. And then we have, can I ask you to stand up? Sato-san. This is Takahiko Sato from Kyoto. His family have been working in urushi for many generations. This is Muniaki Shimode. We're doing the demonstration later, but won't be speaking at this part. And Yamamoto and Taizo Yamamoto from Yamakyu Lacquer. Yeah. So there's going to be three speakers, but first I'm going to ask Teruo Kurosaki just to begin. Teruo Kurosaki has really been the driving force behind this project to revive Kintsugi, and did a lot of work to get sponsorship from the Japanese government so that they could promote Kintsugi as a concept and craft in France and Great Britain for the time being. So if I could just ask Teruo Kurosaki just to say a few words just to open up. Would you like to stand here, Kurosaki?
Thank you for coming over to this. And then when I see the brokerage of the Kintsugi piece, ceramics, the antique pieces, some great pieces are broken, but instead of just fixing up the joint or connect together, they just do the Kintsugi, glue with lacquer, and then gold leaf on top of that, and then make a totally different kind of art. And then we appreciate the even the breakage, even the time passes. Everybody's dying. Everybody will die, and then all the things will be broken, ceramics or things. So that's the process we appreciate. And then we find out, that one, the process of the brokerage. And then Kintsugi has a totally different from Chinese repairing, fixing technique. They try to fix and then try to come up to the perfection. But here in Japan, they appreciate even the brokerage, and then the instant kind of irregular instant breakage things. They see the more like a contemporary art. They appreciate that, and then we found out, and then even the price wise, in the antique market, the Kintsugi values more than the before perfection. It's really totally different from other antiques, So it's like a little bit like a patina, but more like patina in Kintsugi. And then we follow, and then tsugi is a joint and the connector, relay, or so like a ma in Japanese, the tsugi has been used in many ways. So that is like a big Japanese kind of time passes, a season, or breakage, or those kind of things. So that approach is totally different from that. Then we found out after the tsunami or the earthquake things, and then Japanese society tried to replace the same building or something. But actually, all those breakage things we can join together or use the broken kind of piece of the architecture or something. We are trying to do that kind of things, and then more value than before. Instead of the renovation or instead of the make it, the join together, just more like a kind of appreciation of the even the time passes, past times or even the breakage or even the instant. Because in Tohoku, every 100 years, there's some tsunami comes anyway. So, so people have to appreciate that. Unless that they cannot survive, they cannot. So we will show after my speech, and then how it happened, and how all those Kintsugi joined together with the techniques, and then Lacquer, and then culture, profound culture itself. So thank you for coming. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. In the Edo period, there was a figure who I was going to say I like. I don't like him at all. I'm sure I would have hated him if I'd met him, and vice versa. But I found very interesting to work on. His name was Matsudaira Sadanobu. And Matsudaira Sadanobu was lord of one of the very peripheral places in the Japanese states of the time. He was a lord of the boundary zone. But he was from a very elite family, and he probably ought to have become shogun. But because of machinations in the shogunal court, he was not nominated, and he instead became a sort of cultural commentator. He was served in the bureaucracy for a period of time, but he wrote a lot about what he understood Japanese culture to be. And it's interesting, he's somebody from the periphery that came in and started defining things. It's interesting how many people from broken edges are the ones that come in and then start defining things, because to them the consistency of the centre is not obvious as it is to the people that live and are brought up in that centre. And he made a rather interesting comment. He made a comparison between Kyoto and Edo, modern-day Tokyo. And he said that in Kyoto everything's very old. When you go there, you see stone everywhere. You see old buildings. The streets have names that take us back hundreds of years, even a millennium. We see institutions. The buildings may have changed, but the name of the institution has not changed. We see monks and nuns venerating a master who lived more than 2,000 years ago. And when you go to Edo, which by this point is the biggest city in the world, it's not just anywhere, this is the centre, the biggest metropolis anywhere. When you go to Edo, you don't find that. He says in Edo, you'll always find people putting all their belongings into a case, making things as small as they can. To be in Edo is to be in constant need of having to run away when a fire breaks out and destroys your neighbourhood. To be in Edo is to live in an area of sections and parts where wholes are very hard to find. And then he went further and said, and this works well for people who think about lacquer, he said, if you've got a beautiful lacquer box, you'll want to keep it clean. You use your lacquer box to eat your bento out of. And if you try to clean right into the corners of your lacquer box, get every last bit of dirt out, you'll break the box apart. The only way to keep a lacquer box clean is to allow dirt to cling around the corners. And this was his metaphor of a functioning culture. That if you try, and he after all was a senior bureaucrat, he could have policed the state in a much more rigorous way if he'd chosen. He said that it's by leaving dirt around the corners, by allowing the divisions and the frictions between things to be there, that we allow things to be whole. Interestingly, by letting things that should not be there, by letting dirt and improper things penetrate into a space, we actually allow the thing to be, it's a paradox, we allow the thing to be whole. Right? I mean, he said, think about fish. A fish will die if you put it in clean water, but if you put a fish in dirty water, it will swim around very happily. I have cats, and I notice this as well. If you give them nice fresh water to drink, they won't drink it. They'll go off and drink dirty water that they found in some pot outside. And this is, in fact, how the maturer, the deeper, the profounder things always recognize their own impurities. Today we might talk about things like multiculturalism, the movement of goods around, hybridity. Nothing is ever pure. And if we think things are pure, and if we call things pure, and we demand them to be pure, they're the things which are fake, because nothing ever is. The horyuji is real, because it's made out of pieces of wood that have been changed and changed and changed over time. But as far as I know, Kintsugi is one of the only arts which has taken this on and embraced it as its very purpose. And I think it's fascinating to see the objects downstairs in the beauty of their brokenness, but then the beauty of their reconstitution. And who knows, one day there'll be a piece of Kintsugi which will be so old it will have been broken again, and maybe we can see a history of remaking through Kintsugi as the years go on. Perhaps there was a piece of Kintsugi that was broken apart in the tsunami and is being re-put together again. So it's an art form which I think is proper to Japan because of Japan's topography, its history, and its very dangerous natural environment. Such an art form didn't come into existence in Germany or Sweden or Italy or Spain. But understanding and appreciation of what time does to things, and a human investment in how we can involve ourselves in the little moments that we're alive with the long life of things, whether they are ancient ruins being around for 2,000 years, or a pot which might not be around so long, but nevertheless probably will be around longer than each individual person in this room is. Right? How we involve ourselves with that process is a deeply human concern. And as you go downstairs and enjoy the works of art, I hope you'll meditate on a few of those things too. Thank you for your attention.
Good evening, everyone. I am Taizo Yamamoto, the president of Anglo-Japanese. Since my English is not so great, sorry, now I talk in Japanese. Please translate. 私は、黒崎さんと一緒に、金継ぎプロジェクトのリーダーとして、取り組んでおります。
With Mr. Kurosaki, I am leading the Kintsugi project.
なぜ私がこのプロジェクトに取り組んでいるか、私と金継ぎの関係をお話しします。
So I'd like to begin by explaining how I came to be one of the co-leaders and a little bit about my involvement with Kintsugi.
伝統的な漆器は専門的な技術を持つ職人さんのこういう、技術によって、分業体制で作られています。
Making of traditional lacquerware involves a division of labor among craftsmen with specialist skills.
木を削る人、塗る人、絵をつける人です。
The people who make the wooden base, people who apply the lacquer, and people who decorate the piece.
私は、その中の親方という立場で、仕事をしています。
My position in all this is an oyakata, artistic director.
この中の、絵をつける仕事、これが、金継ぎの中で使われる工程です。
So the application of decoration here is the process which is also used in Kintsugi.
漆による筆使い、筆を使ったこの筆使いが職人のセンスが光るところです。
And where you can really see the skill and aesthetic sensibility of the craftsman is in the way he uses the brush to apply this decoration.
よって私のところに金継ぎをしてほしいというお客様からの相談があると、蒔絵の職人と一緒にどうやって直すかということを検討します。
So if I get an inquiry or request for Kintsugi, the first thing I do is to consult a maki-e craftsman about how we should go about making the repair.
次に日本における伝統的な漆器や焼き物、産地の現状についてお話しします。
I'd like to say something about traditional lacquerware and ceramics in Japan today.
ライフスタイルの変化、核家族化により伝統的な漆器や焼き物を使う家庭が減少しました。
changing lifestyles and the emergence of the nuclear family mean that fewer people in Japan today are using traditional lacquerware and ceramics.
大量生産、大量消費の流れを受けて、使い捨て文化になりました。
And because of mass production and mass consumption, we've become a throwaway culture.
伝統的な器の需要の減少を受けて、職人の高齢化、高齢者不足により日本が誇る伝統的な文化がなくなるという危機的な状況にあります。
And so the fall in demand for traditional lacquer and ceramics, and the fact that craftsmen are getting older, and that there's nobody to take over their work from them, means that our proud traditional culture is in danger.
こうした状況を変えようと立ち上げたのがKintsugiプロジェクトです。
And it's an attempt to counteract this trend that we set up the Kintsugi project.
次という言葉には大きく2つの意味があります。
The word tsugi has two fundamental meanings.
バラバラになってしまったものをつなぎ合わせること。
The first is to put back together something that's been broken into pieces.
人から人へと技術や精神をつなげ、過去から未来へ、続けていくこと。
And the second is to pass on, to communicate a skill, preserve it for the future and pass it on to future generations.
さっきご紹介のあった黒崎さんと一緒に、直すことで価値が高まるこの焼き物の技術、金継ぎというものを世界に向けて紹介することを通じて、次という言葉を日本が大切にしたい次という言葉を発信して世の中の意識を変えようと考えています。
And so with Mr. Kurosaki, who spoke just now, we set up this project with the idea of introducing the concept of tsugi to the wider world and to change perceptions by demonstrating the ceramic repair technique of kintsugi.
この後プロジェクトメンバーの佐藤さんから金継ぎの技術などのお話をしていただきます。
Now I'm going to hand over to Mr. Sato, who's going to tell you about the technical aspects.
Yes. Thank you very much.
I'd just like to say that as a result of an NHK television programme looking at the heritage of Japanese food, and Tazo Yamamoto was called into this programme, there's been a sudden upsurge of interest in Kintsugi and lacquerware, coming directly out of this programme. And Mr. Sato comes from a family that many generations have provided raw lacquer or refined lacquer to the tradesmen who need it in Kyoto and other parts of Japan. And but he coordinates many maki-e and lacquer-related projects, and actually runs workshops in his company. Anyway, since the NHK programmes, the workshops are all full. Yeah. I thought it'd be, they were very keen for, you to know this thing. So, yeah, he's brought some very interesting pictures along. So, yeah, does it? And Charles Gordon's going to interpret for Mr. Sato.
皆さんこんばんは。
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
私は佐藤孝彦です。
My name is Takahiko Sato.
佐藤清正商店という、京都の会社で、社長をしております。
And I'm president of Sato Kiyomatsu Shoten.
今回のプロジェクトでは、金継ぎキットの、開発、それからはワークショップの運営を担当しています。
My role in this project has been the development of the Kintsugi kits, which you see here, and running Kintsugi workshops.
弊社は、佐藤清正商店は1921年、漆の生成販売業を行いまして京都で創業しました。
Sato Kiyomatsu Shoten was established in Kyoto in 1921 as a lacquer refining and distribution business.
私が4代目として社長になります。
And I'm the fourth generation president.
今回は、弊社の漆に関する仕事、それから金継ぎに関わる仕事を紹介します。
I'm now going to
佐藤清正商店の、仕事と金継ぎとの関わりを紹介します。
I'd like to say a little bit about the work of the company and the process of Kintsugi.
写真をご覧ください。漆という塗料は、漆の木の、幹から採取される樹液です。
The coating we refer to as urushi, lacquer, is in fact the sap of the urushi tree.
15年ぐらい栽培した、漆の木の幹に、傷をつけて、そこから染み出した、樹液を採取します。
So the sap is harvested from the trunks of 15-year-old trees, and you make a cut in the bark and collect the sap.
一本の木から、採取される漆の木は200グラム程度です。
You can only get about 200 grams from one tree.
15年ぐらい育てた木から1年だけしか、採取しないので、
You have to grow the tree for 15 years, and then you can only harvest for 1 year.
漆の樹液というのはとても貴重です。
Which makes it very precious.
この写真は、漆の貯蔵をしている、倉庫の様
This
子
is a
です。
picture of our warehouse with lacquer in storage jars.
地下室で保存されます。
It's in the basement.
漆の樹液は、このような茶色がかった乳白色をしています。
And so the urushi, the lacquer, is this kind of milky pale brown color.
これを、このような工場で、攪拌、それから分散させて、さらに、水を減らす、減水することで漆させます。
The bottom left is the factory in which we refine the lacquer, homogenize it, and reduce the moisture content.
これが漆の精製という加工です。
That's what we mean when we describe refining lacquer.
さらに、これで出来上がった漆に顔料を練り合わせることで、さまざまな用途の漆を作ります。
And finally, you add a range of pigments to produce lacquer for different purposes.
弊社では、漆を塗るのに使う材料を販売することを、本業としています。
Our main business is selling lacquer for the purpose of coating things.
私が入社してからというのは材料を販売するだけではなくて、漆の塗装をしたり、あるいは漆を使った商品開発にも取り組むようになりました。
But since I joined the company, we've started to actually coat things with lacquer ourselves and to develop new products based on lacquer.
これらの写真は建築塗装の例です。
And these are examples of the use of lacquer as an architectural finishing material.
これはエレベーターの扉です。
These are the doors of a lift.
漆を塗って蒔絵がされています。
They're coated with lacquer, and then there's maki-e decoration applied.
これは一般的な、住宅です。
This is a typical Japanese style house.
室内の、木の部分には全て漆が塗ってあります。
Every wooden surface in this picture is being lacquered.
これは、オフィスビルの、テーブルですね。これにも漆が塗ってありま
So
す。
these tables in this office building also are lacquered.
これもオフィスビルのエントランスの長椅子に漆が塗ってあり
And
ま
this
す。
is a bench in the lobby of an office building.
これは、婦人靴のメーカーから依頼を受けて作ったものです。
These are products we developed at the request of a maker of ladies' shoes.
漆のいろいろな部品を選んで靴と組み合わせて販売しました。
We just came up with a number of parts and combined them with shoes to make this product. こ
れは蒔絵漆を塗った加工をしたラチェットハンドルです。 工具で
This
す。
is the handle of a ratchet.
京都の工具メーカーと、共同で製品開発して販売してい
We
ます。
developed this jointly with a tool maker in Kyoto.
これは、パール真珠に蒔絵をした、アクセサリー、ネックレス、ピアス、イヤリングです。
So we have necklaces, pierced and clip-on earrings, which are maki-e decoration applied to pearls.
最近は、イタリアあるいはニューヨーク、台湾などにも輸出するようになっています。
And we've recently begun exporting to Italy, to New York, to Taiwan.
このようにいろんな、商品開発をしたりもしておりまして、さらに、金継ぎの依頼というのもやっぱり多いです。
So we're developing a lot of new products, but we also get a lot of requests for Kintsugi repairs.
これは伊勢神宮です。
This is the shrine at Ise, the Ise Jingu.
昨年、新しく作られまして、20年ぶりに新しく、作り変えられまし
So
た。
last year was one of the regular rebuildings that happens every 20 years. So that happened last year.
今回、ここについているこのような玉に漆を5色の漆を塗っています。
So these balls that you see down here are lacquered, are the ones that go on where Mr. Sutton was pointing just now. I can't see.
それから、10年ぐらい前から、漆の教室を始めました。
And about 10 years ago, we opened a lacquer workshop. Workshop in this case. A school.
漆を塗ったり蒔絵をしたりあるいは金継ぎをする人も多いです。
So there are a lot of people learning to apply lacquer, to decorate it, but also learning kintsugi.
京都には、うちの他にはおそらく7つぐらいの学校があります。金継ぎの学校があります。
Besides our own, in Kyoto there are probably 7 schools teaching kintsugi.
あるいは東京周辺には、東京周辺の、カルチャースクールの講師をやっている人がいますが、
In the Tokyo area, there are people teaching at culture schools.
その人は、年間大体2000人の生徒に教えていると。
Who said they've been teaching about 2,000 people a year.
このように、日本では金継ぎ文化というのは一般の人にまで広がっています。
So basically, kintsugi culture is spreading to among ordinary people in Japan.
これは今回のプロジェクトで、東京で金継ぎのワークショップをした時の写真です。
So this is a picture of a workshop we held in Tokyo in conjunction with the present project.
NHK テレビ局の、撮影もあり、テレビで紹介もされました。
So NHK, Japanese state television, came to film it, and it was presented on television.
このように、日本ではかけたり割れたりした陶磁器を金継ぎして使う文化があります。
So we have this culture of mending things with kintsugi in Japan.
陶磁器を作っている、他の国にもこういった金継ぎを広げたいと考えまして、今回のプロジェクトに関わっています。
And I joined the project with the idea of wanting to contribute to spreading this culture of kintsugi to other countries.
これが今回、開発した金継ぎキットです。
And these are the kintsugi kits that we developed for the project.
金継ぎに必要な道具が、中に揃って入っています。
You have everything you need to do kintsugi in box.
これがもう少し簡易的にできる、簡易版の金継ぎセットです。
This is a kind of simple version. the other one's for professionals.
これには、英語とフランス語の説明書もついていまして、
There are instructions in English and French.
さらに、YouTube で動画を見ながら
And you can watch how to do it on YouTube.
これで私の話は終わります。
And that's the end of my explanation.
Hello again. I'm going to introduce myself for a little time. I'm son of Yasuhiro Shimode. I'm Muniaki Shimode, son of Yasuhiro Shimode, who's the second son of my grandfather. It's really complicated, but I am allowed to name myself the third Baisen. Baisen is our family name, family master name. So I name myself Baisen after my father dies. And I'm only the third because my father is second son, not the first son. So my blood can go back over more than three. But if I say the bigger number, the people in main blood will get pissed off. So I just name the third. And many people get amazed to see me. Oh, you are young. You come up with the idea, old, quiet, craftsman. That I want to tell you, no one's old from the first place. I will get old afterwards, and I was taught by my father about the skill, and also by many masters in Kyoto. And I'm young, but I've been helping my father since I was in elementary school. I did not know that I was working for free, so I'm planning to sue my father. Also, I'm pretty good with my work, and I brought some of my work here as maki-e. It's my profession to draw golden art with lacquer. The theory is simple. This lacquer acts like glue. So I draw the art with glue, and the golden powder sticks on the glue, so it stays on these lacquerwares. Sure. Just be sure. Yes, separated.
If you want to have a look at this, can we just say, sorry to say it, but please don't dig your fingernails in it and hold it very lightly. Is that okay? It's just a consideration they had earlier. But this, I know from a meeting this morning, but
How long do I have? No, for whole time.
40 minutes.
40 minutes? So 40 minutes to fix.
Yes. Come back to the
Okay.
I
will
talk
just
in the
start
hope that she might
fixing
as well
this.
get on with it. Yeah. But that's a mixture of gold lacquer and earth. It's a very old technique to build up a body. Yeah. And this fine work he just did, freely as it came to him. Yeah. There's no set pattern.
And my real profession is Buddhism art. My families have been doing Buddhism art for generations, and so mostly I spend my time working drawing dead people's name on Buddhism altar. That's my very important work. So
what do you draw dead people's name?
He draws it on altars.
Altars, Buddhism altars.
It's a sort of sister profession to being an undertaker. It's a bit like a stonemason.
We consider
monumental mason. Yeah.
We consider our work as work to gain money, of course, but also as a duty too. So the word work means a lot to us, and these are the tools I use, made of all natural materials, wood, bamboo, and animal hair. And it was made of mice hair in the old age, but we need special mice which live in wooden ships. And nowadays we do not have wooden ships anymore, so nowadays they make these brushes from cat's hair. They don't kill the cat. And
So, the shamisen maker.
we have about 8 to 10 variations of brushes. Each brush have different work to do. And so this one's to paint. So I'm not using it for today. And this tool is very unique. It's fish teeth. Fish teeth, like the fish, swimming fish. These teeth are very good to polish gold. So I rub the gold with this stick, then it shines better. If you want to touch it, you can touch it.
Yeah,
Yes,
burnishing
it's
tool.
polished. We also use deer horn powders too. Okay, I will start fixing. I only have 30 minutes.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And in maki-e, we use many natural materials, starting with this lacquer from tree. And here are soil and rice glue, wood powder, more cleaner soil for different reasons. And this is it's a grain powder. I will stop anyway. And
Do a few people want to come up here if you can get through? Just say, would a few people at the back like to come up here? You can look from behind if you want. Yeah, everyone okay?
This lacquer I'm using today is called urushi, which is different from normal lacquer. We mix a powder called Bengara powder, which turns the lacquer into red. We use this red lacquer to stick the golden powder because over the red color, gold shines, looks the most beautiful. That's why we use this urushi. And it also have the best hardness to hold the golden powder. We do not want it too sticky because then the golden powder will just stay on the surface and it will go away very easily. So we need perfect thickness of this lacquer. So let's start.
It's a bit of a side issue, but I learned recently at a lecture at Christchurch that the people who made cameos in ancient Greece used a very similar thumb dish to the type that Shimoda-san's using, but they put carborundum powder in it, and they would dip the point of a drill in it, and an apprentice would push the bow on their drill. So it's quite interesting that in such very diverse cultures, the practical solution is almost identical.
Oh, and this is called sumeban, nail plate in English. It's a parrot for me, but I'm not using it for today. This plate will do just fine. And I decided to finish her fixing today. I saw it's possible because this depth of this crack is very thin. I can barely feel the cracks, so I can skip some processes to do kintsugi. Normally, I need more time, even days, to fix one dish. But this one I can do, so because she taught me that she's gonna just display it, not use it. If she's gonna use it, I have to dig into the crack for a little to stick surface or lacquer. A mixture, we call it sabi, mixture of soil and lacquer. And then afterward, I put the gold into the gap, so it takes a long time to finish it up. And plus, I'm using this type of gold called keshi, which is the smallest size of golden powder. And this one does not need polishing after spreading over the lacquer. So it is easier to finish, faster to finish, but not strong against scratches. So I usually do not use it for kintsugi. Just for displays I use.
どうぞ。ちょっと交代になっちゃうんですね。
さすがにこんだけ人がいると緊張しますね。
Yeah, good
The
job.
business of using a red base for gilding is something that you see in the West too.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
References to it in Shakespeare. Being gilded means being red.
I will start from inside. So I think we cannot see what I'm doing. I would do my way.